Hi, this is our final presentation for the AI cybersecurity. I'm James.
I'm Vaughn.
I'm Nick.
And I'm Diego.
All right, so the problem that we chose to solve is cyber attacks in business. So cyber attacks have become a major threat these days because of the growing dependence on technology everywhere in business, in government, and along with everyone by themselves as well. The potential for cyber attacks has increased as technology use does as well. Everything is done digitally nowadays, and cybercrime exploits vulnerabilities in systems, causing financial loss and reputational damages. Small and medium-sized businesses are equally vulnerable. It can happen to everyone, as well as individuals, not even just businesses. So one of the most common types of cyber attack is phishing, which is where attackers use fraudulent emails or updates on your computer to trick you into sending sensitive information such as passwords and sometimes just the answers to your security questions where they can reset your password then. Other types of cyber attacks are malware, ransomware, denial of service attacks, and social engineering, which is what phishing is. Those attacks can result in data theft, loss of your accounts, financial loss, and even physical harm if somebody finds your address or something through a cyber attack. Some of the specific impacts could be loss of finances, of course, information found out by a foreign agent, perhaps, that sends sensitive government information, can lead to national security compromises, as well as in medicine. If somebody were to hack into a hospital's systems, they could cause real damage based on medicine that could be administered in the wrong dose or something like that. And the FBI reported that $4.2 billion of losses happened in 2020 due to cybercrime alone. And so our solution was AI cybersecurity, which we believe would be the future of defending against cyber attacks. As the threat of cyber attacks continues to grow, so does the need for advanced cybersecurity measures. One such measure could be the use of artificial intelligence to detect and respond to attacks in real time. An AI algorithm can analyze large amounts of data and identify patterns and indicate a potential attack before it even happens, or allow for rapid response when an attack has already happened to try and mitigate the damage. And in addition to detecting the attacks, it can predict and anticipate future threats and vulnerabilities, essentially testing your own system to try and hack it yourself to fix it before somebody else finds it. And by doing that, organizations can proactively implement security measures to prevent attacks before they even occur. So with the power of AI on their side, cybersecurity professionals can stay one step ahead of attackers and keep all sensitive data safe.
Metrics. As threats of cyber attacks become stronger with new and different techniques in hacking become more prevalent, it is important to keep note how effective these attacks are and how fast companies are able to detect and manage these attacks. We have three different metrics that we will be observing: attacks per year, mean time to detect, and mean time to contain. Attacks per year show how often attacks occur and whether preventative measures are working on these servers, or if a major change needs to happen. Wow. And to show these companies like if these preventative measures are taking place before they even have to take action. Mean time to detect tells us how fast companies know an attack is happening. The lower this number is, the better, because companies know immediately when an attack is happening and they can contain the attack faster. Mean time to contain shows us how fast these companies can contain the attack and prevent even more information from getting out, so that way a limited amount of information is leaked versus a lot of information.
So for the analysis, with this first visual model, it shows the number of security breaches reported over the past 10 years. As you can see, there is a increase in the trend of the number of security breaches. This indicates that the security measures that are not sufficient enough to prevent these attacks, which is what our purpose is for fixing or reducing this problem. As you can see in the graph, in 2013, there was a bit of a spike, but it mellowed out until around 2019, where it peaked in 2020, over 1,000 security breaches, which has caused a significant problem in the amount of problems that people have had to deal with in terms of identity theft and other measures like that. So for the second analysis, this visual model shows that the average time taken to detect or respond to contain the security breach. The data indicates that the mean time to detect the MTTD takes an average of a few days, while the mean time to contain MTTC takes an additional few days on top of that to detect. And this can be quite dangerous because a lot of problems can occur during this time. By the time you'd obtain the information that was stolen, it can be long gone and never recovered. And lastly, the hacker can leave behind additional programs to further compromise the system, which takes an additional few hours to find and exfiltrate, but occasionally can be completely missed and not removed, therefore causing more security breaches further on down the road, and ultimately can shut down systems to the point of complete failure.
Okay, so into the actual solution. So our proposed idea is of basically an AI server monitoring system. So how this will work is that it will be monitoring basically all of the data transfers, the data requests, any additions to the data and any deletions to the data, and will basically be looking for any common patterns that it can find in there. If it detects any patterns that are similar to some common black hat hacker activities, it will immediately terminate that user's connection, notify the administrators, and then if that data was deemed sensitive enough, will even fully shut down the entire server's connection until the problem can be properly assessed. Additionally, this is going to be trained from a self-built, as in company-built model with an ever-increasing library of previous server breach occurrences, where basically it's going to be looking at whenever a server breach occurs, what exactly has happened, which areas were targeted, and along with also having a database of current common and especially current practices of current hackers. So additionally, we want this to be highly customizable. We want it to be able to have, we want the companies that are going to be using this to have multiple different data libraries that each can be assigned a different rank of importance. This will allow the AI to have essentially better scope and also an increased focus on what can be deemed as highly sensitive data. Basically, you can set your, let's say you have your names of all your employees, that's still sensitive data, but then you have the names of you have the actual credit cards of all the people who've gone to your company. One of these is a lot more sensitive data that you don't want anybody getting access to. And so you may want to basically inform the AI that that set of data is highly sensitive, and therefore, if that was to be breached, that might even call for a complete server shutdown until it can be resolved. Additionally, the AI can be set to act differently based off of projected confidence. For instance, let's say that whatever pattern it's looking at, it might only think that there's a 20% chance that it's a hacker. Now, depending on what that actual data is, that could completely change whether or not you want to care if the 20% chance of a hacker actually should result in a server shutdown, or if it should result in just notifying admins or terminating that user's connection for the time being. Additionally, it would act differently based off of the importance of the data, as I covered, and the current user access level. For instance, it's going to be looking at people differently if someone comes in as an anonymous user versus if someone comes in as the actual administrator, or even all of those combined into one. Additionally, we're not trying to make a replacement for current day security programs, but instead we want to propose essentially an additional layer in case any of those previous programs fail at some point, or they let some hackers through. We want this to be yet another area that will stop them and be able to quickly assess, and most importantly, be able to learn from the failures that it may occasionally occur. So our values. One of the main values of this is we want a large portion of the program to be open source, to be completely open source. This allows any users, any people who want to look into this, to see just exactly how the data is being managed, how it's being tracked, and most importantly, showcases that none of the private data that is very sensitive to that company is ever being collected or is ever being actually seen by our specific company. And so none of this should be something that we should have access to. This should simply be that we are providing the AI, and by making it open source, we'll showcase that this is exactly what is occurring. The only aspect of what we really want to be private be the actual AI and the data in which we've trained it from. And so from that, we still have some market value, but we're still keeping a large portion of this open to the public, which even could be modified and improved from the community as they find issues or if they see potential improvements to it. Additionally, the entire server should be able to run server-side so that you can even more so cut any possible communication between the program and our company, or the program and any other malicious company that may have tried to infect the actual program that we are trying to send out. And so this way it would add another layer of security. The reasoning for all of this is, I believe, and all my group members believe, that our incompetence, whether or not it ever does occur, should never harm any of our users in the end. So as to the Christian values, so the Bible emphasizes the value of stewardship, which involves reasonable management and protection of resources, and definitely including data. Now, the proposed solution aligns with this value by aiming to enhance the security of organizations' data and prevent data breaches. Along with this, this also relates to how we want the data to be managed, how we are wanting to also have the same level of stewardship of not having other companies' data being breached because of our difficulties of trying to set this out. Additionally, virtue of justice involves fairness, equality, and respect for human dignity. The proposed solution aligns with this value by protecting individuals and organizations' data. And this is another fundamental right, because this is another fundamental right of their rights and their dignity. And additionally, the Christian value of generosity and community is exemplified by the decision to make our AI servers an open source program. This allows the program to, for most of it, be freely available and allowing others to contribute to its development and offering solutions, and promotes collaboration and sharing of knowledge and resources for the greater good.
And here's our works cited. And thank you.